Hello, everybody. I hope the sound is on. Yeah, hi, how's it going here? My name is Brian. Hey, volume. I haven't done that for a while. Yeah, hi, how's it going here? My name is Brian. Ah, there you go. How's it going? It's Friday, the 17th of January. We're a few days away from the inauguration of Donald Trump next Monday. I hope you're excited about this. It's cold and wet. Raining here in Alicante in Spain. Okay, we're going to get started anyway. We're playing the Stanley Parable. This is the third stream of the game. It's about a man in an office. There's nobody there. He's on his own with the most eloquent, sarcastic, melodramatic narrator, I think, in gaming history. He's very funny. I really like this game. It's very strange, and we're going to continue tonight. So sit back. It's Friday night here. I hope you're well, and we're going to get the game started, which is over here. All right, here we go. And here I am. Let's get the game started. All right, the sequence is now paused. Okay, resume game. Okay, so I am Stanley. I'm number 427. Let me just check the volume. Hang on 1 second, please. I'll turn it up. While I'm doing this, I'll tell you this is Class A plus English. I'm an English teacher in Spain, and I'm playing video games to help language learners build their vocabulary. I'm explaining some of the vocabulary used in the games. Whether you're an English learner or not, sit back, relax, have some fun. Let's have some fun. So this is the office, right? This is the third stream. Everything is empty. We will meet the narrator. I don't know what his name is. Oh, I've also been in love. Well, here we go.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
It starts from the beginning every time, right? I'm going to turn off the camera so I there's no point. And we can play the game. Okay, I am starting now. So the office is empty. It's your typical generic office. Computers.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
It's deserted. So we've been doing this. You can go back and watch the previous 2 streams. We're going to try to solve the mystery tonight. Oh yeah. Property of Stanley. Stanley's bucket.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
That would be an example of sarcasm, everybody. A thrilling adventure. We are not slaying dragons. We are not solving murders. Well, maybe, I don't know. But, you know, basically we're just walking around with a bucket. And sometimes I try to try to piss off the narrator by not doing what he wants me to do.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay, let's go left. Let's do what he says. Let's follow orders. Hang on. Okay, here we are. Okay, this is the meeting room. We need more planks. Produce 1 plank to allow ease of access past fence. Construct bridge to allow collection of shiny float. Retrieve crises remains from warehouse floor. Construct new structurally sound bridge with diagrams. We visited a museum of buckets in the previous stream. Your typical meeting room. Pretty much the same. We had some problems in here.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
You can see he gave me 2 stickers. The first one, property of Stanley. It's my bucket. And then the yellow one, a picture of a bucket, so I know exactly what it is.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Okay, we're going to follow orders. Suggestions. I think they are orders. It's the boss's office, everybody. Look at it. It's
Stepping into the
enormous.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
I love
Even
the bucket.
now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
So he's telling me 8. No!
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Is the bucket the narrator? Okay, so it doesn't really matter.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Okay.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
One more time. Meh. Okay. Back to the elevator.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly. A hint of regret nagged in the back of Stanley's mind. Should he demonstrate the number 3 for the bucket again?
What do you think, everybody? I'm undecided. I'm undecided. Let's do it. It's Friday. I've got nothing else to do. Let's go and check out number 3 again.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
3 is the magic number. Okay, here we go. Let's hope something else. Yeah, I'm going to stick to my guns. Yeah, I have this idea.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Okay, well, at least we tried, everybody. I hope you're enjoying 15 minutes of me pressing the number 3 button.
Close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
One more time. He's going to do it again, and I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go back. just
Stanley and the
disappointed.
bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Okay, we went through the escape before. We've been through the mind control center before in the previous stream. Totally normal mind control center. It's watching all of the employees. Let's press the button.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Looks like a
What
U2 gig.
horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Just one more time with number 3.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
What was my number? 426? 423? Can't remember.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way. The bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Okay, we've got like an anarchist bucket, everybody. Mind controls idle, awaiting input. Idle meaning not working, yeah.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Turn it on. Turn it off. Let's turn it on.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds.
Seagulls.
Silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Fly. Left, fly right. Let's go left. Ooh, parrots.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind
Ducks.
control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind control was only
Clever.
a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible
Owls.
discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable.
Oh, I do this on YouTube.
Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Yay! Storks. I don't like storks, yeah? I had a really bad experience with a stork in Spain. There used to be a stork used to live on the top of my house, and I used to live on the 9th floor, and it would swoosh down every morning. I'd see this thing fly past my window. It's massive, yeah? But I worked in this place in Madrid, and they had a pet stork. Its name was Geronimo.
All his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I won't go into it about what they were feeding it, but it was just horrible, and I really did not like that stork at all. It would stand at the door just glaring at me, and it was horrible. Maybe I'm going to leave the bucket. I'm going to break free of the bucket, everybody. No bucket. I'm going to go to the storeroom.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oh, look, it's that generic
Yes, truly a
waiting
worth
room.
admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley
Yes.
simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Breathe. It's the carpet that gets me.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly
Paper.
captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
We all know a room like this, don't we? Coffee.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Okay, I
But
get
at
the
last,
hint.
he'd had enough of the amazing room.
Thank you.
Took the first open door on his left to get back to business. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 12 years ago.
Again, the tone of the narrator is, I would say, extremely sarcastic.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Thank you.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Who?
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Her? Who is she? He said that we got off on the wrong foot.
This
It's
is
like,
it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Oh my God, that was I just remembered the last stream was in the bedroom with the bucket and candles and romantic music. I'll leave it at that, everybody. I forgot about that. Okay, there's a dark room, and we're going to jump in. We're going to go in. We're going to go running. Oh,
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go.
I can't
now,
move.
I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a lucky life? They want to commit their life to you. I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Oh, I thought I was loved, everybody.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, employee 427. Press any button on your controller. No, I won't. What's in the fridge?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
I'm going to press button. Why?
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work.
I don't
One
go
might even
home. I
feel
work
sorry
from
for
home.
him, except that he's chosen this life.
This is pre-remote working, everybody. Because mostly I teach online, you know?
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown.
Come on, I'm
Fantastic
rooting for
discoveries of
Stanley.
new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Oh God, it's making me press buttons, yeah?
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
All right, I'm going to do what I'm told. Yeah, I'm going to be a good number.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door.
And I
The
tried to
mere thought
rebel.
that
I
his
went the other
decisions
way.
would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Oh God, it's going to make me keep pressing buttons. So, press any button to prepare dinner. Oh, okay. Yeah.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Oh God, it's to tell your kids a story. Okay.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over,
Don't
wishing
forget
beyond
the
hope
bucket.
that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Press any button to tell your wife you love her. This is my wife, everybody. What's her name? Margarita.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
And if you're watching this, you're guilty as well, everybody. Let's go to sleep.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Press any button to be at work in the morning. So it's going to restart the game. So no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take a moment, everybody. Oh, God damn it. I'm back at work. Oh, look. Am I working from home now as well? Is this my home office? Well, we'll take this moment. I'm going to wait just to tell you that if you're enjoying this, and press like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. This is Class A English. My name is Brian, and it's a very, very small channel. Pretty niche, I think. Playing video games to kind of teach vocabulary. I think the word of the day here is existential. We're having some existential angst here. I'm going to press the button. I'm going to press the button on the count of 3. 1, 2. Oh God. I've got a pencil sharpener. 427. I hate Mondays. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Press any button to question nothing. Okay, I am going to jump into the void, yeah? I'm going to obey, obey, obey.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Oh my God. The end is never, the end is never, the end is never, never is the end, never is the end, never is the end. Oh look, everybody, we're back in my favorite place, the office, 427. That's me. I hate Mondays. No, I love Mondays. Back to work.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
You're coming with me
Where
this
are we
time.
going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled.
420.
Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Right.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
No, I didn't.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The
No.
bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort.
I
And that's
think...
when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket.
No!
Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. Now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious.
Nice.
Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad.
I can
Where is
fly.
it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside him all along.
Oh my god.
It was incredibly painful.
I am the bucket?
Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Right. Well, I don't think you're...
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Okay.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions, and how everything is predetermined, and free will is an illusion, and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
So really what it's telling us is like you either have the bucket or you don't have the bucket, yeah? God, we're back again. Alright. What can I do? Bucket or no bucket this time, everybody? What do you think? Anybody? Any opinions? Do I take the bucket
All of his co-workers were gone.
or
What
not?
did it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
They won't let me into 420, whatever's going on
Stanley
in
went
there.
around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
What way did I go last time? I
When
went left.
Stanley came to a
Right.
set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
All right. So as far as I know, you're not mad if you think you're kind of going mad, right? Because you're completely oblivious to it. So if you think, am I going mad? It means you're not going mad. You know what I mean? Because you have kind of insight. And to be mad is like to be like actually have no insight into what you're doing or whatever. You know, you're completely delusional or whatever. I think. Yeah. No.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. Extreme Bathrooms, Time Magazine. Man of the Year, everybody. Person of the Year, yeah? The Orange Clown. Through the window. Jump! No. End this madness! Okay. Okay, we're back in the boss's
Stepping into his
office.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Alright, what was it? 2485.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
2, 8, 4.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Okay, we're going down, down, deeper down. Okay. This game is so strange. What is that? Electricity.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
I'm following orders. All rebelliousness in me is gone. I don't have my bucket though.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Okay.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Try another one, can we? No, one option. Okay, let's try this again.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the
427.
number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers. The
427.
lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Where's number 1? 12. 16. 15. Where's like number 1? Okay. Alright, this is it, everybody. This time we're going to finish the game. We're going to succeed. Take me up.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation.
Okay, we're back here
Controls
again.
labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
So what did I do last time? I went on, so now, and we got the ducks, we got the birds, we're going to go off. Okay, everybody, here we go. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, press. This fucking game is crazy, I don't know.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won.
What?
He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
An important message,
Whatever life he
everybody.
lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
I'm nervous about this. I'm kind of feeling excited, but nervous, because this is what I know, you know? I know the office. I know the routine. And this is the wilds. Shall I take my first steps into freedom? Okay, here we go.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
It's a beautiful day.
Stanley was happy.
Wow, okay. I'm going to meet the bucket again. Something's going to happen, for sure. Hey, we did it. No! No, 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 no. No, 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 no. That's enough. That's enough. Hang on, wait. That's enough for me. Okay, I've played it like 3 times. I've played this game 3 times now. I've done 3 streams. And it's a funny game. It's a funny game. I really like it. But I think that's enough of the Stanley Parable, at least for a while. At least for a while, yeah. I'm going to give that a break. It's funny though, yeah. Well, we made it. We made it to the outdoors, yeah. We escaped the office and the labyrinth of empty rooms. What happened to the workers? I don't know. I don't know. But I'll definitely come back to this game in the future. But 3 streams is enough for a while, you know. But really funny, really nice game. Anyway, so that's that. Today's Friday. I will be back on Sunday morning class at 11 o'clock. So, you know, the weather is horrible pretty much everywhere. So, you know, class A brunch. Yeah, you can have some class A for brunch on a Sunday morning. In Spain, they have the hora de vermouth, you know, you have some vermouth before lunch. Maybe you can have some class A before lunch to set you up for a very chilled out Sunday afternoon. We'll be back with Murder on the Orient Express with Hercule Poirot, another game I'm really enjoying. But I wanted to take a break for a little bit and just try out Stanley Parable just to enjoy it, you know. So again, please, all that stuff, liking, subscribing really helps. This is a very, very small channel, so I'd really, really appreciate it if you can do that. And yeah, we'll be back on Sunday, and yeah, well, we're back onto the Murder on the Orient Express with Hercule, and we're going to get to the bottom of the. Well, we're going to try anyway. I think we're about halfway through the game. We're going to try and get to the bottom of this, like, kidnapping with the child and then the ratchet, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, but we'll see that. So make sure you have some Class A English on Sunday morning, and I'll see you then. Take care. Goodbye.